Welcome to King County at your service. I'm Kimberly Hill. Here's a startling statistic. 1 out of 5 families in South King County don't always have enough food to eat. But there's a special place in Maple Valley that's changing that. Tucked away in a Maple Valley neighborhood in an unlikely spot is a community treasure. This is Elgran Farm. It used to be part of a golf course. Today, it's growing fresh produce for families who need it the most. The South King County Food Coalition started the farm to serve its 12 food banks. Together, they serve more than 10,000 families a month.
The fact is that I think 1 out of 5 families across South King County at times does not have enough food, and certainly does not have enough healthy, fresh food. And so here we are taking an old golf course and turning it back into productive farmland that can supply that.
We rely a lot on donations from local stores and from individuals. And as you can imagine, those donations are not always the freshest on earth. They're the stuff that's gotten a little old. It doesn't have a very long shelf life. It's not sellable anymore. And so I think one of the things that the farm means is that we can bring on fresh food.
And Elgran Farm is growing. When it first started, there was no irrigation. The only crop, garlic.
And since then, we have been able to grow close to 30 different kinds of vegetables and harvest them and take them to the 12 food banks across South King County. I love coming to work every day and seeing that, oh, well, today it's the first day we got a zucchini, so we got to harvest that. And the tomatoes are just starting to ripen, and we're really in that full, bountiful season on the farm where we're going to be taking hundreds of pounds of produce a week to the food banks.
And something else is growing here. Hundreds of volunteers and school kids come to work the farm. Nearby Tahoma High School will soon use it to teach kids about agriculture. You see, it's more than good soil and strong crops. Elgran Farm is growing community. There's another garden in Seattle that's providing produce for low-income seniors. Sarah Pham takes us on a tour of the Goat Hill Giving Garden.
Hello, my name is Sarah Pham. I live in Seattle, and today I'd like to show you something really cool. This is the Goat Hill Giving Garden. It's probably not where you'd expect to see a garden, on a steep, gravelly hillside. But look what's growing here. King County employees volunteer to take care of this garden. They plant vegetables and harvest them, and they teach other people how to garden too.
Given the advancement of technology, a lot of people are not in touch with where their food comes from. And I think that the average person wouldn't see a carrot growing on the street and know it's a carrot until they pull it out of the ground.
Not all of us, myself included, know how to garden. So we have a really great team of garden managers that can make even novices like myself feel a little bit more steady and confident in gardening.
And here's the coolest part. They give away all the produce that's grown here. Yeah, and guess where it goes? The Pike Market Senior Center. They serve more than 1,000 free meals a week here.
At the Pike Market Senior Center, we serve free breakfast and lunch every day, and all of the meals are made from scratch. Fresh ingredients, healthful meals for people who don't have access to healthy food. That's part of our point. And we wouldn't be able to afford to do that if it weren't for partnerships like this.
And the good news is, this garden is starting to produce some serious pounds of produce.
1,700 pounds of food in the last 7 years. And now that we've expanded the garden, that'll be that many more thousands of pounds that King County is able to give back to the community.
I'd say it's a win-win for everybody.
Volunteers who are working at the garden often teach classes. They teach people who are neighbors of ours and also King County employees how to do things like grow kale or grow tomatoes at home. People are healthier, they're happier because they're growing their own food, and they're also healthier and happier because they're giving back to the community.
I told you it was cool. To find out more, visit online.
Have you ever heard of a rain garden? Well, here's a story of how King County is using rain gardens and green infrastructure to solve an old problem in West Seattle.
We have a problem, and our problem is that we're polluting the sound, and we need to fix that problem. In Seattle, our sewer pipes are combined with our stormwater pipes, which is great. Most of the time, that water just goes into the sewer pipes, the stormwater and the sewage, goes up to our treatment plant in Magnolia at the West Point treatment plant, and then gets cleaned and sent out to the sound. But sometimes when it rains a lot, that rainwater can fill up the pipes. We can fix that problem in a way that also addresses all these other issues. So instead of putting in a pipe or a storage tank, we realized that we could put in rain gardens to soak up the rainwater and just keep it from getting into our sewer system in the first place. We got creative. We have 91 roadside rain gardens on 15 blocks in the Sunrise Heights and Westwood neighborhood of West Seattle. Underneath these rain gardens is a civil project, basically a civil engineering project. There's pipes, so it drains down, the water comes down through the plants, it gets cleaned, gets into the pipe, goes down to the southern end of every block, and then we have these deep wells that go anywhere from 40 to 150 feet down and release the water below that hard layer and allow it to soak into the ground.
This project is good green infrastructure simply by the fact that it manages combined sewers, which would normally all be captured and sent to West Point treatment plant for treatment. Now this water is actually being captured and retained within the areas where the stormwater falls. So in other words, we're capturing the water where it falls and leaving it here in this area and actually recharging the groundwater underneath.
We spent a lot of time working with the neighbors that were directly adjacent to these 91 rain gardens.
The feedback from the community has been pretty positive to date. They were hesitant at first when we came in and explained what we were trying to do, but over time people have really grown to love them. There was a lot of effort and work done by our community services staff to kind of get in there and work with the neighborhood so they understood what was going on, and then kind of even the location. One of the small things we did is kind of locating paths to walk across, like you see behind me, lined up with people's paths to get to their front door.
We're bringing that forest ecosystem back to the streets, but in a way that matches the aesthetic of the neighborhood. In the end, it's been a really great project, and we've really transformed that neighborhood and the look and feel of it.
Most kids love going to the playground, right? But imagine if a disability made it hard for you to get around. There's a playground in Seattle that makes everyone feel welcome, and they're getting more staffing thanks to the Best Starts for Kids levy.
You need some Play-Doh. More Play-Doh?
Welcome to Seattle's Play Garden, a different kind of playground.
The Play Garden is all about inclusion. So really the mission here is to create a space where every child, regardless of their level of ability, can come and play. And sometimes for kids who maybe have autism or Down syndrome or some mobility struggles or something like cerebral palsy, parks are not always very welcoming. They can be a little bit difficult to manage, whether it's because you're on wheels or because maybe you have an autism diagnosis and you need to be in a space that's fenced in so you can be a little bit safer. Everything's designed to be accessible regardless of how big you are, how small you are, whether you use wheels to get around, whether you use a walker, whether you use your feet.
And access to outside, rain or shine.
Our kids are outside and they just put on some good rain gear and some boots, and they get to really experience nature in the garden and digging in the mud and splashing in puddles and not stuck in a really sterile indoor environment.
The Play Garden is one of 17 local nonprofits that successfully competed for funding from King County's Best Starts for Kids, an initiative created by Executive Dow Constantine to make effective programs like this available to more children, youth, and families.
It's been really important for Best Starts to really be creative and think innovatively about who we want our investments to go to, and recognizing that there are a lot of community-based organizations.
Community programs like U-Power, which offers free fitness classes to underserved kids all around King County.
So these latest investments are really about creating opportunity for young people to begin to understand what it is to be healthy and safe in their environments, with food, with activities, with exercise, and that they get to be a part of planning all of that.
How long have you had the sore throat?
Best Starts also awarded funding to open 3 new school-based health centers in Bellevue, Renton, and Vashon Island. The clinics help kids get health care and prescriptions and even behavioral health services without having to miss school.
So the opportunity we have now is to be able to put those supports in place so that babies can be born healthy, so that children can thrive, and so that young adults can really be launched into the rest of their lives and be happy, healthy, successful adults.
Oh, nice jump.
Are you an animal lover? Well, you'll be happy to know that cats in King County's animal shelter are getting some new digs.
Looking to give a furry friend a forever home? Well, now you may not have to reach through metal bars. Welcome to the Cat Colony at Regional Animal Services Adoption Center in Kent. Here, kittens can romp on a catastrophic bridge, and older kitties can hide, hang out, and even go out on the catio. And so can you.
These cats can't sit in a cage for long periods of time, and I wanted it to be a calming, home-like setting for them, and then they have the option of going outside or they can come indoors and people can come in and sit and read to them, and it's just to feel like that they're at home.
The RAS team and volunteers held a garage sale to raise money to build the cat colony.
But that's the reason that we can do so much for animals, is because we have such a great staff complemented with really dedicated volunteers. It is a whole team that helps save animals down at Regional Animal Services.
The team's model of effective and compassionate animal services is not only generating interest, it's also raising money. RAS just earned a $75,000 grant from Petco Foundation that will create even better quarters for cats.
We're going to be replacing the stainless steel cages with actually cat condos, multi-compartment cat condos, which makes the cats much more relaxed, and it's a great environment for them to be. I think we're going to get a lot more adoptions, but that's not all. We have more. We're going to be using some of the money as well to help fund interventions for dogs. Lots of the dogs that we get in perhaps haven't had the best training or guidance that they need to be really great partners for families in the future. We'd like to be able to work with behaviorists and help those animals be successful in long-term adoption homes.
For example, this is a dog play group at the shelter in Kent.
Basically, we just brought out 2 dogs that hadn't met each other before, didn't have any history before, and watched their body language, made sure they were gonna get along, and then sort of just let them hang out with one another.
For 2-year-old Oakley, it's a chance to socialize and maybe even another shot at a forever home.
Originally, she came into us as a stray, so someone just kind of found her out and about, brought her into us. She was adopted out to a home, and she was there for a few weeks, but they ended up reporting that she had really bad separation anxiety. So pretty much when she was home alone, she couldn't handle it. But from this experience, I would say that a good start for her would probably just be to get her a dog friend. So being around a dog who's also comfortable being around people sort of encourages her to do the same.
We've been able to raise the save rate for animals coming into our shelters to nearly 9 out of 10 cats and dogs, and we're looking to do even better. We have really set a national standard for what a public open admission shelter can do, and we're not done yet. I think that the people of King County want us to make sure we're doing right by every single cat and dog, and for that matter, every rabbit, snake, and horse that ends up becoming a client of King County Animal Services, and we're on track to do that.
Public art. It can make any space feel more vibrant, more interesting, and For Culture is recruiting more artists.
I always encourage my most favorite artists to apply for these things so that I can see them out in my city. And I think that For Culture wants that. They want the crazy ideas, the seemingly difficult ideas. That's the stuff that I feel like For Culture was like, yes, let's get this done.
You know, there's a lot of apprehension on part of artists about working in public. I think they're worried about the process being oppressive. And I try to dissuade them of that fear because I don't look at it that way. It might be that you have to come in with a certain attitude that whatever they throw at you, you can turn around and turn into a positive. If you're quick on your feet, and I think artists have to be quick on their feet, and skillful at seeing how they can apply their genius to this opportunity, you get to make something. You get to make something that has already got a patron and has already got a place, and you don't have to fill up your studio with a lot of work that has nowhere to go.
I'm glad that different mediums are being used for public art now. You don't have to just be able to make a monument anymore. You can make a comic book, or you can make a play, or you can make cakes. You can do anything.
We're looking for the best and brightest artists to work with us. Our business and the work that we produce here is only as good as the artists that we can attract to work with us. It's important work, and we really want to extend ourselves to let artists know that we're great partners and that we really do want to realize their vision.
You know, as artists, if we just do the best we can at what we're good at, anybody's ready to become a public artist.
Thanks for joining us for King County at your service. I'm Kimberly Hill. Visit online at kingcounty.gov/KCTV. See you next time.